Hi, I'm Richard Jolly-Chandra. I'm the CEO of Technorati.
This is Frank Eliasing. You may know me as Comcast Cares on Twitter.
Hi, this is Chris Brogan from chrisbrogan.com.
Hey, I'm Scott Monty.
Hi, I'm Darren Rouse from ProBlogger.net.
Hi, I'm Wendy Pearsall.
Hey, Brian Clark here from copyblogger.com.
I'm Steve Rebell.
Hi, I'm Mari Smith, and you're watching Social Media Examiner TV.
Michael Stelzner here from Social Media Examiner, and I'm joined today by Ann Hanley, Chief Content Officer for MarketingProfs. Ann, how you doing today?
Good, Michael. How's it going?
It's going awesome. Good. So if you don't know MarketingProfs, they are the largest educational marketing organization in the world. Tons of great how-to articles and content and conferences, and I'm at one of their conferences right now, and I had a great opportunity to sit down with you, Ann. So. Ann, let's talk about Twitter for a minute, and then we'll talk about some other social media stuff.
Sure.
You are the face on Twitter for the MarketingProfs brand, so it's twitter.com/MarketingProfs. How do you handle being the face of MarketingProfs, and do you strictly treat that for business, or do you also have that be Ann Hanley's Twitter feed, and how do you kind of mix all that together, that business and personal?
Yeah. I mean, it's an issue for me. It's an issue for companies everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So, I guess the answer to that is that I don't really manage it. I mean, the way that I do it is that I mix both, and to me, it's sort of one and the same. It's Ann and it's MarketingProfs. But I guess at the same time, that said, I'm who I am in the sense that I work for a small company, and we have a culture that kind of embraces that sort of thing. So when I started on Twitter almost 2 years ago now, I sort of was kind of flying under the radar, and I just sort of started interacting there. And how Twitter kind of makes a bad impression when you first start with it. You probably had this experience too, where it's like you're sort of there for about the first couple months going, what is this thing, and I don't know how to use this. Doesn't make any sense. I don't care what I don't care that someone's eating a burrito, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then as things sort of started to click, I started to have a better sense of like, how do I use this and how do I leverage it. So I guess to me it never was a business decision. To me it was always, let's just sort of play over here and experiment with it. And so what that's evolved into for me is that I was the first one to sort of bring Twitter to MarketingProfs, and so we just are sort of developing it as we go along. So I started it as part personal, with sort of this hazy idea that business might be part of this somewhere, but I never started it there. So I think it's different for companies now who sort of are approaching it. Could we be using this for business? So they're sort of coming at it from a different perspective. But I think that's an issue that everybody deals with. The whole personal versus public thing.
So, Ann, we were talking a little bit before about how when some people tweet, it's strictly business, and with other people it's strictly personal. And when it comes to the people that work for MarketingProfs in particular, do you struggle with people being a little more human, or tell me some of what's been going on there?
Yeah. So I think that a huge benefit of Twitter really is that it really allows you to humanize your brand and to sort of be human online and to connect with other people at a really sort of fundamental level. And so we've been in the sessions here at the Digital Marketing Mixer, and I'm hearing companies say, well, how do you manage somebody who's going to be talking about being out late the night before and drinking too much or something, and how do you do that? And again, it could just be because we're a small business and because we're B2B, but we actually have a harder time sort of convincing people how to be human, or just to be human on Twitter, and like it's okay to sort of talk about a little bit, not about really super personal stuff, but just to give a sense of this is what's going on, or this is what I'm doing, this is what I'm struggling with, what are you doing today? And so I think there's a balance in there somewhere, but I think the assumption is always, people are going to overshare, and you might find that you actually have the opposite problem where you have to find out it's okay to share.
Yeah, because it's so public, they might not feel comfortable just sharing with strangers some of the things about what they're doing or where they are, or even just experiences that they're having.
And I guess the lesson there is don't operate with the assumption that people are going to overshare and that you've got to sort of over-govern the situation. I don't think that's a solution at all. I think the solution is, sort of give people a sense of, what's the objective here. I was in a session earlier where John Bernier from Best Buy was talking about kind of the way his company does this. He's got this 12-force
Right.
Sort of army of people from Best Buy, and he sort of talked about having sort of a North Star, sort of a true north. What's the objective here? What's the goal? And then just sort of put bumpers in place. And I really like that as sort of this kind of image that companies can keep in mind. Here's the objective. Here's kind of the bumpers. And how you figure out what's okay in here. And I think the company can set at a very broad level. And then just sort of share that objective. But how do you get from there to here? It's kind of up to individuals, and I just think that's right there is sort of the real, it's the beauty and it's sort of the essence of social networking and of Twitter.
So you're kind of alluding a little bit to social media policies.
Yeah.
And what are your thoughts? I know you've been thinking about this for a while. What are some of your thoughts about where you think businesses need to go with some of the things they should have in their policy? Do you have any ideas on that?
Yeah, I think my feeling about it lately has been don't overgovern.
Right.
I think there's a real fear that as we've been talking about that what are people going to share, and we should really make it clear that they can't do this and this and this. My philosophy is more to guide your employees with some real basic fundamental things. Like if it's inappropriate to share, if you're worried about it being inappropriate, don't share it. It's kind of like as a parent, like I used to think when I was home with my kids and they'd be driving me crazy, if my preschool teacher was looking in through the window, if their preschool teacher was looking in through the window, would she be proud of this moment? So, just whatever you need to sort of realize, like kind of a check, like, all right, this isn't okay.
Right.
So I think, it's very similar for businesses in the sense that treat your employees as grown-ups and just sort of let them make their own decisions. It becomes down to the hiring process. Who are you hiring?
Right.
And I think that's becomes an issue of they have to sort of evaluate that. Is this person going to represent us? Realizing now it's not just maybe within the company or on a retail floor, but yet in a larger sphere.
So, Anne, do you have a Twitter strategy, or do you just tweet whenever you have a spare moment? Is there a tactic in your mind?
Yeah.
How do you engage with your audience on Twitter?
Well, yeah, my role is a little bit different in the sense that, I always say I'm not a marketer, I just play one on the internet. So, I can't say that all I do on there has a marketing objective because,
right.
My job really is to do a lot of listening, not just for MarketingProfs from a brand perspective, but also, what's going on in the world, what's going on in business that ultimately are that marketers are going to care about, and it's going to affect how they do their jobs. So I do a lot of listening for, at sort of a MarketingProfs level, at a larger business level. I'm customer service on there. I do some marketing. I sort of talk about, kind of what's going on at marketing and new stuff we're publishing that people really should know about and should care about.
You probably tweet all the new articles that you guys have out, I'm sure.
Not all of them.
Oh,
no.
really?
Yeah, usually when...
the high-profile ones, maybe?
It's honestly, I'm not systematic about it.
Yeah.
We publish a lot, and I think that if I did that, I would probably, tick some people off, because I could really be, I could be all in there all day broadcasting, but that's not really how I want to use it,
I see.
What I want to use it for is to sort of raise awareness of the fact that we're publishing good stuff,
Yeah.
And so I'm a little bit more judicious about it.
Listening is a term that I've been hearing from everybody.
Yeah.
How do you listen? What do you do to actually listen and find the next whatever?
Yeah, on Twitter or just...
Even for MarketingProfs, yeah.
I pretty much just... It helps, I think, to have a little bit of ADD, in the sense that I'm constantly bouncing around all over the place.
Yeah.
Like anybody probably in social media, I sort of
Yeah.
enjoy that kind of constant buzz. So, I do a lot of listening on Twitter through some real practical ways. Just, I have like a search window going all day long that's telling me, kind of what people are talking about in marketing and in MarketingProfs. I'm not glued to it and, watching
Right.
it like I'm watching a stock market crash or something, but, I'm sort of aware.
And if someone happens to be really resonating with something that you guys are doing, then that might spawn some other ideas.
Yeah,
Is that
exactly.
the idea?
Or I'll plug into it and sort of ask a few questions and just sort of, plant some ideas.
Yeah.
But you know what? I also do some kind of old school stuff, I check in with people on email. They check in with me on email. I pick up the phone a lot. So, it's just a matter of kind of plugging in. At a conference like this, it's pretty awesome because,
Awesome.
Yeah, you can really pick up some great stuff.
There's some great people here, Anne.
Yeah.
And what kind of message would you give to your peers who are just getting started with social media? Any advice that you would say, hey, if you're a business that's just getting started, here's maybe some things to keep in mind?
Yeah. Yeah, I think the most important thing to keep in mind is just to wade in. You know, you can, and by that I mean, you know, you don't have to fully immerse yourself in it. You can go up to your knees. You know, you can be where you're comfortable. Wade in, start looking around, start listening before you speak. You know, I really do think, like as we've been saying, just kind of listen in and see what's going on. That's really, I think, the first step before you do anything else. So just to listen before you speak, wade in. You don't have to get totally wet, but I think it's good to just sort of, you know, take a dip and sort of see what's there.
Where can more people learn about Marketing Profs? Tell me about some of your different properties, like your blog, for example.
Yeah. So MarketingProfs is MarketingProfs.com. We've got tons of case study collections. A lot of it is focused right now about social media because that's what marketers want to know about. So we just released a social media ROI case study collection. We have a Twitter case study collection. We have a Facebook case study collection. So we have tons of seminars. We just wrapped up our social media summer series in which we had like Charlene Lee talking about social media, kind of giving an overview, and then tons of other people. I think we had 7 or 8 sessions that were part of that. Right now we're in the midst of our Grapevine marketing series, which is all about buzz and word of mouth and how do you get people talking about you.
Oh, cool.
And then, as you say, we also have the blog, which is mpdailyfix.com. We've got newsletters. You've got it all. Go to the Marketing Profs homepage, and
Awesome.
you'll get overwhelmed really quickly.
Awesome. Well, Ann, thank you so much for joining
Thanks,
me
Michael.
today.